This is the one he top 8'd a modern RPTQ with. Might have been top 4.
Qualified for the Pro Tour.
Yeah. And this
He
is
queued with this.
Zach on his Affinity that he is well known for. Now, you may be thinking that green-black decks just have a pretty good matchup against Affinity, especially when they issue the third color, so their mana base is less painful. I will tell you that Belfatto's deck is probably a little worse against Affinity than most. He's playing cards like Life from the Loam and Ghost Quarter to give him an edge against these big mana decks.
Does he have your favorite Worm Harvest in there?
Oh, yes. In the 75.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's just in the board then.
I believe it is in the board.
Worm Harvest is a sick one.
He also has some spicy one-ofs in this main deck that are really nice.
Yeah.
Like a Courser of Crucifix.
Sure.
Yikes, that one feels good.
I want to see what kind of hand Zach has.
Has a Ravager in it. Memnite.
I love
Mox Opal.
Affinity hands. I mean, you just...
Blinkmoth Nexus.
Just that whole puzzle of, like, how do I deploy this the quickest? Do I need to hold some of it back? Apparently
Holding
not.
nothing back.
I would almost always Ravager there.
Inquisition, there's the Ravager.
See, because since Ravager is one of your most important cards in 90% of your matchups, putting it on the board is huge because now you can then trade off the cards that don't... You know, like if it gets bolted or Fatal Push. Like Fatal Push, you know, you still get the one-for-one card trade there, but then the counter goes. If it gets bolted, you can trade off this Ornithopter, which isn't really a critical card right now, for, let's see, Ornithopter, and then put all of it on the Vault Scourge.
Sure.
If you think he's just on like a red deck, I don't know. I think it just opens up a lot more plays than having the Vault Scourge for no mana or no life.
The Galv Blast goes to Belfie's face in response to the Inquisition. I believe that's a Bloodstained Mire expedition. Belfie going down to 9 to fetch here.
So Zach held a land. If he would have played the land, he could have... You can then draw and equip a Cranial Plating while still, let's see, 4, that's 3. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter there that he held the land. When you're playing this Affinity deck, you always want to be thinking about, like, the possible draws. Like, what's my worst possible draw? What's my best possible draw?
Right.
And that way you can... You know, if you're at an advantage like he is now, you want to be playing towards your best possible draws so that you can press that advantage. If you are playing from behind, you want to think about your worst possible draws so that you can then draw into your better stuff later. You can hold on to the game longer.
Sure.
Right. Bell's got a solid choice of foil lands here. These are the Urza Saga versions of the arena lands.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. I like that swamp a lot.
Yeah, the swamp's great. One of the last lands that had text on it.
Here's a Tassiger. So Tassiger is going to stop a little bit of the pain. Oh boy, not for long.
2 in the air. Belf down to 6. So, cards that give Belf out of this are any kind of Flaying Tendrils, Infect kind of effect? Infest kind of effect?
Sure.
The whole damnation? Nope.
Obstinate Baloth.
Putting him to 10.
He's going to take 4 more here. So he's going to get to swing in for 5 here.
Yeah, with that Ornithopter now having a power, it's a legitimate attacker.
So Belf needs the answer now.
So Zach knows that he's not facing down a damnation or any kind of big sweeper like that. I could see Belfatto playing a Yeheni's expertise because he's that kind of maniac.
That kind of maniac.
The guy's just capable of anything.
All right, picking it up.
It's one of the reasons he's actually like one of the harder players to play against in our area, is that his decks can actually contain any legal card.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to calculate all the legal cards that his mana can cast. So there's some value to be had in that, or to be at least known for it.
Sure. It makes people think a little bit more. It's much easier to play against somebody when they're playing. Like, if you read the same article they did on how to play the deck, then it's much easier to play.
Right.
And there's some players like that, especially in Standard, where like somebody will read like a Teamer Energy article and be like, okay, that's how you play this deck. I'm going to play it. Like, you know that that's the article they read. And you're just like, all right, well, let's take it up a level.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Magic, is that like it's so there's definitely that leveling thoughts process and deck building, but there's also it in your games that you play.
Absolutely, and that's why I liked the Standard format that everybody hated so much. The one with Emrakul and Blue-Eyed Spirits.
Yeah, so that format, I'll toot the horn for you so you don't have to.
Yeah, please, toot my horn. It's been too long.
You won, what was it, 5 consecutive FNMs with 5 different decks in that format? Like, you were just always, okay, like, so this happened, so this is the response, and then that happened, and then, you know what I mean? So you were always right there. You really, I mean, it was a great format in that there was always that leveling thing, but all those decks were just so
powerful, honestly.
Right, powerful and insurmountable to the decks that lost to them. Just lost. Like, there was no gameplay to be had.
That's very true.
Whereas the deck that beat them just beat the hell out of them. And so that's why I think people didn't like that format.
That's fair.
Whereas now, so even every deck loses to Teamer Energy, but like, but you can get like a percentage point on it or two.
Sure. So there was I forget who said it. It was one of the people at one of the Pro Tours that was won by an Emrakul deck, or an Emrakul deck was in the finals or something. But they said that when you're playing against the Emrakul deck, you're not trying to beat the Emrakul deck before they play Emrakul, because you can't.
Right.
You're trying to beat them the turn after they play Emrakul, so just trying to set up the worst possible turn for when they Emrakul you.
Right.
So you had a way to beat it. It was just a very non-conventional way to beat it.
Yeah, it was. That card was super good. I mean, so there's some cards that are still would be legal but are currently banned. So like Cat is banned and Copter, right?
Yeah.
Smuggler's Copter.
And good for them.
I think you could unban those cards and we'd be fine.
No, come on. How are you going to unban
All right, where are we going to go? I'll come with you.
How are you going to unban Cat?
So it's a turn 3 infinite combo, right? 4? Turn 4?
Turn 4, infinite combo, yes. Go on. I want to hear how this turn 4 infinite combo is fine for Standard.
So, like, the red deck could beat the snot out of that deck.
Beat the snot out of the deck. I don't agree with that.
Well, they can't go for it because you have 4 shock, 4 lightning strike.
But you can't tap out. The red deck can't tap out.
That's fine. You play a turn behind. You just threaten the shock the whole time.
Yeah, but how do you do that when they can play their same removal? Like, how are you going to keep any pressure up? So, like, if they go shields down, worst case scenario is, like, you play, like, an Earthshaker Kenra on 3 or something like that. But if you go shields down, you just lose.
Right.
Potentially. It's definitely favored for... But, I mean, I see your point, is they can disrupt it. That's fine.
Right. I'm just in favor of... They've definitely taken the wind out of that format. Like, the wind is out of the sails. I mean,
Yes.
we're talking about a deck that relies on their green search for a basic land spell. Well, I mean, the last time that happened, and it was rampant growth, that format was not healthy. So why?
That format was awesome. That format was amazing.
Rampant growth into Titans? That's the format I remember.
Oh, no, the last format was rampant growth into Thragtusk.
Oh, and Restoration Angel.
Yeah. That format was actually very good.
Sure.
Because then it became... The counter to that was rampant growth into Olivia Voldaren. Like, alright, I can't kill your Thragtusk. Might as well take it.
Right. Back to this modern format. We're going to play a modern Pro Tour here at the beginning of the month of February.
Yes, sir.
So, like, what's it, like 5 weeks?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for it?
Like a 9.
Like a full-on 9?
Like a 9. Like, I want to have, like, a slumber party at our house. What time zone is it held in?
I believe it's GMT +1. It's in Spain.
Okay. So Saturday night.
So 6 hours
Saturday
off.
night into Sunday will be the finals, top 8
Correct. It should start around like 2
a.m.
2 a.m.
Sunday morning.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Slumber party. Let's go.
Yeah, I want
Braid each other's hair and watch some people jam Modern.
Modern. I was gifted a pair of slippers for
You were.
for Christmas, so I can put on my slippers.
I own multiple pairs of slippers already, so. How do you feel about this start by Zach? Does he have a turn 2? He does have a cranial plating. Springleaf
I would
drum.
love to have another land, sandbag the cranial plating, attack for 3 or 4 here.
How are you attacking for 4?
So you fire up the Blinkmoth Nexus and the Memnite, both get
okay.
Battlecry triggers. And that way, next turn you just get this cranial plating, you just jam in for a bunch.
He also has a Ravager. Does that change anything?
You could Ravager this turn. Okay, so yeah, this is the line if we're going to Ravager. You would.
Once you've shown your
the
hand here, I'm not a big fan of swinging first.
I would play the Ravager. No, yeah, I would play the
So
Ravager
what if he does
before
this?
attacks.
Like, what if he fatal pushes your Signal Pest in combat here? I mean, you've kind of signaled that you're going to play a 2-drop.
Oh,
And he goes
that's
with
his
that
play.
2-drop too.
See, here's the thing.
Oh man,
If
we claimed that one for nature.
so, if you play the Ravager there, it's just so much better for him to Nature's Claim the Ravager. You say, yeah, you move the counter onto the Memnite.
Probably the Signal Pest, right?
Sure, Signal Pest, whatever. And then next turn, you have 3 mana open to Cranial Plating equip. You want to do that all in one fell swoop. This is just my opinion. I could be reading different articles than Zach is on this on this deck.
I will say that you are very knowledgeable about the Affinity deck's matchups, in my opinion.
See, now, if you were to have a Cranial Plating in hand and a Ravager in the graveyard here, and you just did it all in one swing,
Yeah.
that's a totally different ballgame.
Man,
You got
and we
two-
can't even Thoughtcast here.
2 Ravagers.
That feels bad.
I mean, I don't know if Bell pulls the trigger on the Nature's Claim if it's a Ravager and not a plating.
I would think not, but it kind of depends on if he has a removal.
1, 2, 3. That costs 1 more.
Yeah, that costs one more unless he
He did-
animates a land first.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should stop it because it's not
you
missing
should.
a
Yeah,
trick.
we should stop that play.
You only had 3. So he played the opal in both
Ravagers, after
Ravagers
the fuck.
afterwards. He sees it. So he was doing the math based on what he had
The opal's in
last
hand.
turn.
The opal. You had the.
That was in hand. He's got it right. There you go.
Right.
So we've done it. There we go. So last turn he was thinking he was 1 short
Right.
because he attacked with the Blink Moth Nexus.
Right. And so yeah, he had the count. Okay, so you're choosing the Blink Moth Nexus to put that on.
Ink Moth Nexus.
Yeah, okay, there we go. We just edited that choice a little bit. I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with using the welding jar to regenerate there too.
Well, I think using the welding jar to regenerate this Ink Moth Nexus is a good idea because you're
Yeah.
playing against a black-green deck and some amount of his removal won't be able to hit these lands.
Sure. It keeps him open. You're right. I like that play. It's a good open-ended play. All right. So we're gonna declare attacks. And what he's gonna do is use the. Oh, okay. Here, Belf has an instant.
3 mana. Murder's Cut.
Let's see. So he's going to think about this, and here's where the welding jar comes into play. To the welding jar, I save it here personally. This is an opinion play. I mean, depending on what you think, if he's going to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this.
Because mostly, I mean, we've put Belf on the possibility of having
Like Abrupt Decay.
Abrupt Decay doesn't touch it, but Damnation's also a big card for him.
Yeah.
And so the Damnation gets maximum value
So
here
here's
because
the Damnation.
it gets the Ravager cleanly.
Now, I will say that... Oh, with this land, he can activate Ink Moth. Okay. I think he's content just to split up damage here. He could have attacked for 4 Infect here, which is a big deal.
Yeah, would have totally, with Belf's shields down, totally would have put in 4 Infect, because that turns on your Cranial Plating draws, your Ravager draws. It makes all of those just like plays that, end the game.
A Tectonic Edge. Whew, you don't like seeing that.
No, that's not a good one. Yeah, just use the big green die. Haven't put out the big... Oh, there we go. We have an actual poison counter.
Wonderful.
How cool are we?
So the draw for Zach is a Vault Scourge.
Yeah, so the Tectonic Edge is going to make Belf's turn less exciting next turn. You can't really afford to sacrifice this land. And I still wouldn't be splitting up. I would be all in on having one source of damage, personally.
Well, so it doesn't cost you anything to get the 2 Infect in as well. And with the Tectonic Edge on top, I actually like splitting this up. So, With him being at 4 infect, he almost has to Tectonic Edge the Ink Moth. But that doesn't actually do much for him here.
Right.
Because he's still facing down 3 in the air.
Every turn.
Not to mention potential draws. And Belf is going to have to essentially take a turn off to use this Tectonic Edge.
It costs him 1 mana in the Tectonic Edge. The old fetch, my life total stays the same. Here is Liliana, the last hope, on the top of the deck, so we know that's coming for Belfatto. Yep, now we've got
4 mana is... Oh, man.
Obstinate Baloth.
So we're comfortable just racing some life totals here.
Yeah, so Zach's going to be attacking for 3, gaining 1. And this reduces Belf's attack from 6 to 5. So it's still not super favorable with Belf's life so high, especially if you're going to be blanking your draws like that. But it's what you can do, you know?
So Zach has set himself up for cranial plating here if he needs it. Although
yeah,
it's not going to be an option on this Vault Scourge anymore.
Alright.
Six, take Zach down to 15.
Yeah, these...
Draws a Ravager. That's not a bad one.
Yes, a Ravager lets you do some things like block and then sacrifice one of the blockers to, you know, make the Ravager bigger. Lots of choices. Alright, so Zach's counting up. I don't think he can deal 16, but he can figure out how many turns it's going to take him to...
So this Liliana is just going to tick up on the Ravager if you do nothing?
Yeah, you just sack the drum.
Fair.
That's what I would do. So 14 and then 12. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of attacking Zach has to do.
So he'll get to put what 4 counters on one of them next turn. So that's gonna turn the clock up to 3 turns or down to 3 turns. 5 damage a turn.
Right. But Belf's gonna, you know, he's got an incremental life.
And yeah, Belf's clock is just faster than that. I mean, he gets to chump here.
Well, and here we are -2ing Lily with the top of the library exposed. So that he can, you know, just be like, alright, I'm going to put this card in my hand.
Gets a Tasigur. So I think we're going to get to play both Tasigur and our Tireless Tracker if we want.
Yeah, that'd be a big deal. Has he played his land?
He has not played land for turn.
Sure.
But I don't think he has a land for turn to play.
This is an interesting match.
Doing some math. Just swinging it for 4.
Let's see what Zach comes up with here. Just... Okay, so what Zach's thinking about doing is blocking, making his guy a 4/4, and that's going to let it trade with the
Yeah. So we'll be able to
Baloth,
trade and
then
move
make
the counters.
and move the counters onto the Blink Moth.
Heads up play by Zach there.
Yeah, Zach's a little fallen behind.
So this has also set him up to be able to attack with just one of these blink moths.
Sure, and block with the other one.
He can block the other one. He can pump if he needs to. If he draws like a Vault Scourge or something, he can just cast it.
Sure.
Man, this is a good board position for Belfi. We've got 15 all here.
Yeah, Zach's... The only...
That's not a bad draw.
That's a great draw, actually. Alright, so here's the mistake here. So 6 does not increase his clock at all.
Correct.
So what he should do here is attack for just 5 and use these other Inkmoth Nexus that you draw to just block the biggest guy on the board. So
right.
Tireless Tracker's probably the one I'm choosing. Because it can be a 4-drop.
He's drawing this Scavenging Ooze. He's going to be able to gain a decent amount of life. He has now this Murderous Cut. So he's going to get to gain 2 life here.
These Murderous Cuts out of Belfatto's deck are really powerful.
Yeah, Murderous Cut's a very powerful card. The downside there is that you don't get to cut something in the early game consistently.
Right.
And that's when you really want to cut something.
Right.
Or when you really want to remove something.
Yeah, the whole thing of just being able to get anything, whereas Fatal Push makes you do a little bit of work.
Right. It makes you do a little bit of work in exchange for a lot of consistency.
Yeah. I suppose Cut makes you do a lot of work.
Right.
To cast it for cheap, but it's...
So there you go.
It's exactly what Belfi wants.
Takes this one down. Big Bear asks, do we play any Legacy? I am a Legacy champion.
You are Legacy
of the
champion.
world.
You really carried our team the last time you played Legacy. So we played in a team trios where we had to play one player of each format. I had the standard deck. Our buddy Kyle played the modern format, and John held the ground with the Legacy Eldrazi.
I don't play Legacy.
I think you went 8-1.
I only lost one round, and it was to Sneak and Show deck.
And yeah, so like we won match, like, you know, some number of, like, one of us won every round.
Right.
To, like, you know, help you out. But
I very much played above my ability in that tournament.
You swung above your weight by quite a bit. It was nice.
Yeah, I was playing against, like, Billy Caminos, who is an outstanding Legacy player, and playing a deck that he was very good at.
Right.
But he just drew poorly, and I was just like, all right, well, I gotcha.
No, that Legacy Eldrazi deck seems sweet.
Yeah, it can put a clock on you for sure.
I'm chipping away at it. I've got one City of Traders. So if anybody has any beat up City of Traders out there they want to ship me.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you're in the market for beat up Legacy cards, these SCGs are very nice.
Yeah, you get to that HP case early.
Yeah. Just get nice and early, swing in.
Do you think they have like an HP box that's like held back and they just keep like refilling that case as people buy stuff?
If they do, they would never admit to it. They don't want people picking through it.
The box?
Correct.
Sure.
But they may.
Sure. Yeah, and Star City's HP is just...
Yeah, it's like...
It's played.
Right.
You know, it's not...
One of our buyers looked at it funny, so...
Right. I mean, you'll get stuff. I have a tooth and nail that I had bought from them that had like a bent corner.
Sure. Who cares?
But
All plays the same.
yeah, it all
Unless
plays the
it's
same.
marked. And you're like, eh.
It's not marked. I mean, that was for my EDH deck, so I didn't really care.
So Big Bear's friends working on Legacy as foretold with Tezzeret, Jace, Restore Balance, Ancestral, and Chalice.
Well, that sounds miserable.
Gotta admit that sounds miserable. I don't know. It sounds pretty cool.
I mean, as foretold seems like a super powerful card if you can harness it, but I'm not interested in casting 3-mana enchantments that don't just outright win me the game.
Yeah.
Like in Legacy, Show and Tell is a 3-mana sorcery. When it resolves, you just win the game.
It requires a little bit of setup, but yeah.
But you're spending the first 2 turns setting it up. You brainstorm.
Yeah, brainstorm.
Whereas I don't see As Foretold just like flat winning me the game when I cast it. It gives me an advantage for sure.
Oh man, we've got someone in chat here, Aztec 01, watching from the Netherlands.
Yeah?
Loves what we're doing. Thank you, Aztec 01.
I wonder if he's a fan of the ancient civilization or the car from the 90s.
This is Aztac, AZCTAK.
Oh.
So neither. Oh, maybe.
What? I thought you said Aztec.
Aztac.
Aztec. Walter White in the first few episodes of Breaking Bad drove an Aztec.
Oh, wow. It's a really ugly car.
The whole gimmick there was that the back became a tent. Like there was a tent
So
piece.
just a hatchback.
No, well, no, they made a specialized tent piece that like hooked onto the back.
Good old gimmick cars. Listen, if my car is not advertised by a dancing gerbil, I want nothing to do with it. Let's be real.
Did I ever tell you this story? I used to work with a very, very funny guy.
Yeah.
Who's super gay. He was the makeup artist at the hair school I taught at.
Sure.
And for whatever reason, we were fooling around with each other, and
we don't need to hear about this.
we were at work. We were joking with each other. We were joking with each other.
Oh, joking. Okay.
And he said, "You look like one of the Kia hamsters." And that's when I knew I was a fatty. I should have bought a velour jumpsuit and showed up to work in your car one day.
You should have. Oh man, what do you think about this hand from Zach? Or this start at least. I haven't seen the whole hand.
Well, no, these can be fine. Where you just have a lot of manlands, and you've got these kind of like build-ups. I'm not in love with. I mean, I guess against these black decks, it's hard to hold these cranial platings.
Right.
Because Belfi's shown us Inquisition on the
right. He's also shown
games.
us Natural State. And
right. So like, is it better in play or better?
Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. So here it's better in play because Zach's going to attack with it. With one of these Blink Moth Nexuses.
Probably.
And so he's going to get the crack in for 5 or so.
Probably.
And Belf already taking a ton of damage at 10 life.
There's no way he's at 10.
Concur.
19.
All right.
Alright, so he's leaving the mana open, representing Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, it says non-land card though, right?
Yeah, but you wait till he taps the mana and then hit the plating.
Yeah, you just get the...
Still not great,
get
but
as much plating as you can. So he's going to...
activate.
So if you have a creature here, like a 1-mana creature, you play it.
Sure.
So that you can... Oh, okay. Alright.
So he has an Ornithopter.
And another... The Ornithopter's going to grab the plating here. So he spent all his mana. He's building up like a critical mass, and Bel's going to have to...
Abrupt Decay.
he doesn't want to sandbag the Abrupt Decay any further. He wants
No,
he's going to spend mana every turn.
Yeah, he needs to efficiently use all of his mana. So Zach with a Ravager in hand and a Galblast.
A Galblast. This could be a.
Oh man, that is actually very good here.
All right. Springleaf Drums down.
Oh, we drew the champion.
So this card is going to be super good. I would just windmill this right into play this turn. Don't mess around. So this is one of the best cards in these decks. The last time I took this deck to a large tournament and did well, I played 4 of this card, which could be completely wrong. It's completely wrong in a combo meta, but if you think you're going to be facing down Abrupt Decays and Fatal Pushes and Murderous Cuts all day, I mean, there's no man I would rather have on my team than this Etch Champion.
Certainly. And here's a Tassiger.
So my game plan with the hand that Zach has is to see how quickly I can use this Etch Champion to get my opponent to 4 and Galblast him out. Because what though normally will happen is he won't do the math right.
Right. Zach does not have a source of colored mana currently.
I'm just gonna trust that I have
like a Mox Opal on top.
8 lands, 4 Mox Opals, plus the mountain. So there's 13 sources. I'm 10 cards in. I got 50 cards left. I'm over 20% to draw on any given draw step.
Here's a Memnite.
Yeah, this is great. So if you play the Memnite here and the Ravager, you can use the Memnite as a chump blocker to increase your clock. Increase the number of turns you have to deal some damage. And putting the Ravager on the board opens up your lines. So I would leave your mana open and just attack with the 2/2 this turn. Put him to 14. Because now he's got to be afraid of everything. Now he's got to have an answer for Inkmoth Nexus. And then once he handles that, Etch Champion.
Right. So there's a very real clock here. Does going in for 3 this turn instead of 2 speed that up at all? And that's what he's counting right now. My gut says it does not, but it very well could.
3, 13... 10. No, he goes in for none. Which is that's probably fine.
Yeah, so
I probably don't hate that.
That's the other question is, does the 2 versus 0 speed up the clock at all? But you definitely need to pressure this Tassiger, or else he's just going to create all kinds of value.
Got another Blinkmoth Nexus. That's so good. Now I'm really interested in firing up. This is where, see how spread his board is? This is where diversifying his damage would be to his advantage. Whereas I didn't agree with it on the last game. Where diversifying it here is going to overload your threats, then overload the removal that Belfi can have.
Alright, so we've revealed Inquisition. Oh, it's a Hero's Downfall.
Zach is going to take a minute to admire it.
So I think you just give him the Inquisition here and make him like spend the mana to do it.
Sure. I could have been convinced about the Hero's Downfall.
So if anything, you give him the Abrupt Decay over the Hero's Downfall.
Yeah.
Never mind. Because the Hero's Downfall can do the lands too. But yeah.
But my whole thing is like if you're gonna make him spend mana on removal, make him spend more.
Yeah, that's fair. So here's the hero's downfall.
If you were to give him the hero's downfall there, then him casting it would prevent him from having a Tasker activation.
Well, he doesn't get one anyway. Oh, a dispatch.
This card's gonna be fine here. I'm still interested in diversifying my airborne threats. Alright, so the Fatal Push. I would not target the lands. I would target the Etch Champion. I would sacrifice the Ornithopter. No, don't do this. You don't do that. To make it a 3/3 and then target the Etch Champion to make it a 5/5. That way you can kill all the guys, but you want to keep this Inkmoth Nexus intact.
Right.
There you go.
So of note, he does not have Metalcraft neutrally now.
Right. He's got to keep one land active. Yeah, Belf's really... He's chosen an operative turn to...
Man.
Did Zach get in for 2 last turn?
Yeah, but I don't think it matters at this point. He's way behind now.
Yeah. Yeah, Belf orchestrated that well.
Yeah. So that'll do it.
Yep.
We've got just a little bit of time left. We'll be back here soon with a 3rd round.
Yep, don't go far.
I've got a nice little player list here. We'll find something cool.
All right.
See you soon.
See you soon.
And I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.